Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So the thing we are missing now in our table here, which is the course meta table, is some uniqueness to each column. So what we'll do is let's go through a structure and let's create one extra column. Now what I'll call this one is UID, short for unique ID, but of course you can name it anything you want. I'll leave this as int because let's see here. Int, if I hover on this one, the range is from minus, let's see, this is, what number is this? 2. Wow, this is more than a billion, right? It's a million. Oh, it's actually 2 billion. Okay, so that's fine, that's good enough. I need at least, let's see, 3, 6, 9 digits, and that's 10th digit, right? So that's 10 digits. Okay. Okay, what I want to see is, before I add this, what I want to see is the number. Let me go to these views, the curriculum view here. I just want to echo something in here. So just say echo time, like that. Okay, I want to see what the time. Okay, so this is the unique ID we're going to be using. So I just want to know the length. Now, to know the length of a string, instead of counting all the time, what you can do is you can just say string len, like this. Say PHP function to count whatever content sign here. So let's see what it is. It says 10. Okay, so 10 is a little bit short of what I want, because this is the maximum. Now if I add more, then I'm going to have a problem. Okay. Yeah, this is not good. Now the reason why I want to use time is because this thing is unique. That's what it is. This one counts the number of seconds since 1970 up to today. So you can be sure that the number will never repeat itself because seconds keep increasing. So you can use that as a you can use this as a way to create uniqueness. Now if you want, you can encrypt this to a specific value, but instead of encrypting it, there's no need to encrypt it, because really what I want is just an ID that I can use without having to repeat myself. That's it. So instead, what I'll do is I'll just use time. And what I wanted to do, the problem right now is time is unique, but keep in mind that this happens every second, right? If I refresh this, let me show you this. You see now it has 21 at the end, but if I refresh one more time, it has 25. Look at that, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So you can see that every second it adds 1 to this number. This is just how it is. So it will keep adding 1 to this number indefinitely for as long as computers are alive. But the problem is, when you're saving data, let's say you're saving even 100 records or 50 records, the act of saving may take less than a second. So it means every row is going to have the same number. But let's put that to the test, shall we? So before we try to find any workarounds, let's see the current problem. So what I'll do is I'll go to courses view, admin view right here. So here, instead of just having tab now, we have a UID. So let me do this. I'll say UID. And then the UID will have a time function there, like so. So I'm going to copy this and put it on the other one as well, the curriculum version. Okay, so we have a UID now. Now always keep in mind that you need to go to the model and add that column as well. So that's course meta. Let's add that column. The order doesn't matter here. We can just add them in any random order. UID, like so. Okay, so back here, let's see what will happen if we save all the records over here. So let me refresh. Let's come back here. So I'm just going to save this again, repeating the same data. So save. Okay, so unknown column UID. Oh, sorry, I hadn't saved the UID column yet. So what I'll do instead is I want to put int, but int has a limit of 10 characters. So that's not enough because I want to add, because the time function brings back a 10-digit number which will fill up int. So if I add or concatenate another value at the end, then I'm going to have problems because that will be truncated. So let's use big int instead, which has 19 characters instead. So where is big int? There we go. So let's save that. Now since UID will be used to read data, let's add an index. Okay, so great, there we are. Now this may defeat the purpose that we had originally, which was to maintain our index to be maintained without shifting numbers around, without having to delete numbers around. But I'm not sure how we can get around this, because the UID will have a changing value over time. So not very good for indexing either, but at least it's not the primary key. So at least I think that's okay. We can try to see if I think of something better, we'll use that. But for now we have that. So let's try again. I'm going to refresh and then let's try to save one more time. Let me just swap these two and save. Okay, so let's come back here and refresh. Now as you can see, this number is not unique. It's exactly the same number because, like I said, it takes less than a second to save these rows. So as a result, they're happening practically in the same second, in the same time. So this is not precise enough. Unless we had milliseconds or microseconds or something, that would help, because there are microseconds between each save, which could work. But like this, it's the same number. So that actually doesn't help us much. However, it does help us between saves, because if I try to save again, it will be a different number than this one. Okay, it's just that it doesn't help us with records that are saved at exactly the same moment. But the next time we try to save, let's say we add more here, those numbers will be unique because there will be enough time would have passed. So we can leave this to add some uniqueness, but let's add extra precision at the end of this to make it more precise. So what we can do instead, out of time there, okay, I went too far there. Where did I go? Okay, there we go. So right here, I just want to concatenate to the end of this just a random number. Now I can put a, let's see here, at most you will be saving maybe, okay, let's put maybe a 4-digit number. So let's put 1000,9999. So this is the minimum random number to the maximum random number here. So I'm just putting a random number to the end of each just to make sure that there is some randomness there. So let me copy this and put it here as well. Now, of course, there are better ways to do this. What I could do is just add number 1, 2, 3, or read from the previous one and then just add numbers and then check the database to make sure the number is there and it's unique. You can put that code if you want. Just grab the UID and then try to read in the same table to make sure that there is no repeat. If there is a repeat, just run this again. So a sample of that would look like this. But let's try this before we do anything else. So I'm just going to come back. All we want to see is that those files are unique, those numbers are unique. So let me save again. And let's come back to this and let's refresh. Before they were exactly the same, but look now, they're the same up to a point, and then there's this extra numbers at the end which are random numbers. So that makes sure every number is unique. So already, as you can see, the probability that any of these two will be exactly the same is extremely low. But if you're feeling not safe enough, you can do a check in the database, but that just wastes time. But if you were to do that, what you can do is this. You can say check like so, and then use the same course meta like that, and then put a where clause. We just want to look for where, let's see here, we need an array where the UID is equal to the current UID that we've generated from there. Let's put it there. Okay, so we can just say while, if there's a result here, let's just put a while loop. Now I don't really like while loops because it's easy to make them infinite loops, so you have to be careful when using a while loop. Okay, so while this returns something, let's change the value of this just by running the code again. Because it's a random number, it will generate another random number. And just like that, just by doing this, a while loop here, will make sure that this is unique, right? So let me copy this again and put it on the other one as well, right here, like that. Okay, so while that, so make sure, be careful when you're using a while loop. If for some reason you end up having an infinite loop and the page is just loading to infinity, it may stop on its own, or you just go to the XAMPP control panel and stop Apache and then start it again. That way it will stop running the PHP. Okay, so here, make sure that when you are making a while loop like this, because a while loop is just an if statement, if this returns true, then it will keep repeating. But you make sure that whatever is in the condition is also being changed during the loop. So in this case, we have this item that is being changed within the loop, so this cannot be an infinite loop. All right, so let's try this again. Let's come back and make sure that we don't get any duplicates. Let me save, and it has worked, so it didn't loop infinitely, which is good. And then there we go, so we have that. So this will make sure that things are unique. So with that code of uniqueness, you can even reduce the length of the number by putting 3 digits, because even 3 digits is quite a lot. Should be good enough. I just put 4 because we were not checking to see if it exists or not. So that was just an extra number for confidence there. So we can put 100 to 999. That should work just as well. So let's do that here as well. Okay, cool. Alrighty then, so things are working out better now. Now the thing is, this UUID thingy should only ever occur when we are doing an insert, never when we are updating. So update should never change the UUID. We should maintain the same one. So what I'll do is just move this UUID thingy into the else statement, just here where we have the insert part like this. So let me move this, push this inward so I can move this closer. Okay, so we have a UUID that we add there and then check to see if it's unique and then insert. So copy this. Let's do this on the other one as well, which is here. Okay, cool. Where is this? Alrighty then. Then I need to move it from here. Okay, great. So we only change the UUID when we've made an update. Now I just want to follow this and see if somehow the UUID will remain constant for a particular item. So first of all, let's save one of these guys. Let's swap one of these and save. And then we can take note of what the UUID for chapter 1 is. So back here, chapter 1 has this ID. So let's grab that guy and let's save it somewhere because our memories aren't this good. Let's save it there. And then let's try and swap it again. Let's move it up. So right now it's on the second row, but I want it on the first row. So let's try and save that. So save. Cool. So chapter 1 has now moved to the top. So chapter 1 has moved to the top, but look at that. The UUID has remained where it is. Why is this? This is very interesting indeed. Yeah, that's because when we're updating, we are not actually updating this guy. We are... okay, cool. So, things are not working as intended. But the good news is, you see there's this 3100 UUID. It's still there. Okay, so that's some good news. But let's see what we can do about that. We're on the curriculum thing. We'll just do it from here and copy it over to the other tab. Okay, so here when we are updating, so this is fine when we are doing an insert, that's okay. But when we are doing an update, since we are getting the old IDs, wait a minute, how can we fix this? So the old data, yeah, no, this won't work very well at all. Okay, so what we actually need to do here is to grab the UUID from the post data so that it comes with the data, just like we are grabbing this tab. So what I'll do is, let me shift like this. Let's say there's a UUID over this item. If these guys are done, then we'll create a new one which will be replaced here. Okay, so that's fine. So we'll say UID, and let's put UID over here. That way it's also replaced when we are doing the update because it will exist here. So let's put that here as well. But now this is post UID, which does not exist. So we need to make it exist. So wherever we are sending this tab name, we should also send the UID. But in order to send it, we have to read it from the table itself. So let's come back to curriculum. Wait, courses view? Yes. So when we are loading information, now this information is loaded in these functions here. Let's go down a bit further. Let's start with the curriculum object. So coming down here, this is where we create our inputs. Now in our inputs, we have all these params that we are adding, the value, the object, blah, blah, blah. Now, if these things are actually being sent from existing data, what we can do is, let's see here, input. Okay, so that's the input. Right here on the input, we can add an extra item called the UID, like this. Okay, so there's object.name, object curriculum inputs count. Okay, object.value. So here I'll just expect the UID. So copy and put that here. In fact, let me just call it UID right there. Okay, so we need now to declare this, the UID. So I'll come to, where is object? Type object and defined object value is equal to that. Okay, so in the same way, if object value is undefined, the same way we are doing this, let's duplicate that. But instead of object value, we have UID. Okay, so then let's use obj.uid like that. So if it's not defined, then let's just leave an empty string like that. Okay, cool. That way it will be empty.